I've always been good at hiding things. Bruises under long sleeves, flinches at loud voices, the way my scent spikes with fear before I choke it down with suppressants. In our world, omegas like me learn early, show weakness and someone will exploit it. Or worse, claim you. My name is Ethan Harper, 26, junior graphic designer at Apex Media in downtown Seattle. I've been with my boyfriend, Ryan Caldwell, for 3 years. He's a beta, charming, ambitious, the kind of guy who posts gym selfies and gets likes from everyone. At first, he made me feel safe. Then the arguments started. Small things escalated. A shove here, a slap there. Always followed by apologies, flowers, promises. I told myself it was stress from his job in sales. I told myself I could fix it. I never told anyone else. Monday morning, I arrived at the office 10 minutes early, like always. Long sleeve button-up, high collar, concealer on the fresh purple mark along my jaw from last night's discussion about why I was late home. Ryan had grabbed my arm hard enough to leave fingerprints, then backhanded me when I pulled away. "You think you can just ignore me?" he'd snarled. I'd apologized. Always did. The elevator dinged on the 18th floor. I kept my head down, heading straight for my cubicle. But as I passed the glass-walled conference room, I felt it, that heavy, grounding presence. Lucas Grant, my boss, the CEO of Apex. Alpha through and through. Tall, broad-shouldered, dark hair always perfectly styled, gray eyes that seemed to see straight through people. His scent was cedar and storm, calm, commanding, impossible to ignore even with blockers. He was in a meeting, sleeves rolled up, leaning over blueprints for a new campaign. Our eyes met for half a second through the glass. I looked away fast, heart hammering. Alphas like him didn't notice omegas like me. We were just staff. I sat at my desk, opened my laptop, tried to focus on revisions for the Pacific Northwest tourism pitch. My wrist throbbed where Ryan's grip had been. I rubbed it absently. "Ethan." The voice was low, close. I jumped, nearly knocking over my coffee. Lucas stood beside my cubicle, arms crossed, expression unreadable. "Sir?" My voice came out smaller than I wanted. He didn't smile. "My office." Now. Panic clawed up my throat. Had I missed a deadline? Screwed up a file? I followed him, sleeves tugged down as far as they'd go. His office was massive, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Sound, dark wood, minimalist. He closed the door behind us. The click felt final. "Sit." I did, on the edge of the leather chair, hands clasped to hide the tremor. He didn't sit. He leaned against his desk, studying me like a problem he needed to solve. "You've been off for weeks." Distracted. Jumpy. And today, his gaze dropped to my face, then my collar. "You're wearing enough makeup to star in a drag show, and it's not hiding the bruise on your jaw." My stomach dropped. "It's nothing." I fell. Bullshit. The word was quiet, but it hit like a slap. His scent sharpened, protective, angry. "Who did that to you?" I stared at my knees. "It's personal." "Personal doesn't leave marks on my employees." He stepped closer. I flinched instinctively. He froze. Something flickered in his eyes, rage, maybe regret. "Ethan, look at me." I did. Mistake. Those gray eyes pinned me, gentle but unrelenting. "Tell me his name." Tears burned. I blinked them back. "Ryan, my boyfriend. It's not always like this." Lucas's jaw tightened so hard I heard the muscle pop. "It shouldn't be like this ever." He straightened, pulled out his phone, typed something fast. "HR will be here in 5. You're taking the rest of the week off. Paid." "I can't, I have deadlines." "They can wait." He crouched in front of me, eye level now. His scent wrapped around me like a shield. "You're safe here. No one touches what's under my protection." I didn't know what to say. No one had ever said that to me. The door opened. HR director, 2 security guys. Lucas stood, voice cold steel. "Escort Mr. Harper to his desk. Help him gather his things. Then I want every detail on Ryan Caldwell. The dress, jobs, socials, everything." Quietly. They nodded. I stood on shaky legs. Lucas caught my elbow, gentle, Careful. I'll handle this. I didn't argue. For the first time in years, I didn't feel alone. That night, in my apartment, Ryan was at a work dinner, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Lucas *, stay inside. Lock your doors. I have people watching the building. I stared at the message, heart racing for a different reason now. Not fear. Something warmer. Dangerous. I didn't know it yet, but that text was the beginning of the end, for Ryan. And maybe the start of something I never thought I'd have. I didn't sleep that night. Every creak in the apartment building sounded like Ryan's key in the lock. I kept replaying Lucas's text, stay inside. Lock your doors. I have people watching the building. Who did he mean by people? Security? Private investigators? The man ran a multi-million-dollar creative agency. Did COs just have teams on speed dial for this kind of thing? I sat on the couch with the lights off, knees to my chest, phone clutched like a lifeline. Around 2 a.m., headlights swept across the living room blinds. A black SUV idled at the curb for 10 minutes, then pulled away. My pulse wouldn't settle. By morning I looked like death warmed over, dark circles, pale skin, the bruise on my jaw blooming darker despite fresh concealer. I called in sick, anyway. Lucas had already told HR I was off, but guilt gnawed at me. I hated leaving my team hanging. At 8:47 a.m. my phone buzzed. Lucas, open your door. Lucas, it's me. I froze. He was here? In my rundown Belltown walk-up? I checked the peephole. Lucas stood in the hallway in a charcoal coat, hair slightly damp from the drizzle outside, holding 2 paper bags and a tray of coffees. No bodyguards. Just him. I opened the door a crack, chain still on. You didn't have to come. I did. His voice was calm, but his eyes scanned me head to toe like he was cataloging injuries. Let me in, Ethan. I'm not here to lecture. I hesitated, then slid the chain off. He stepped inside, filling the tiny space without trying. His scent hit me harder indoors, cedar, rain, something steady that made my shoulders drop half an inch. He set the bags on the counter. Breakfast sandwiches, fruit, a large black coffee for him, oat milk latte for me. He'd remembered my order from the office break room. Eat something, he said. Not a request. I sat at the tiny table. He took the chair opposite, elbows on his knees, watching me unwrap the sandwich like I might bolt. You didn't sleep, he stated. I shrugged. Hard to. He nodded once. I pulled everything on Ryan Caldwell last night. 32, regional sales manager at Pinnacle Tech, no priors, but 3 noise complaints from neighbors in the last 18 months. 1 domestic disturbance call that was dropped when you refused to press charges. My stomach twisted. You looked into him that fast? I have resources. He didn't apologize for it. He's at work right now. Won't be home until after 6. How do you know that? Calendars sync from his company's public-facing portal. LinkedIn. Traffic cam feeds near his office. People talk when money changes hands discreetly. I stared at him. You're terrifying. A ghost of a smile touched his mouth. Only to people who hurt what's mine to protect. The words landed heavy. I swallowed. I'm not yours. Not yet. He said it so matter-of-factly I almost choked on coffee. But you're under my care until this is finished. That's non-negotiable. I set the cup down. Lucas, I appreciate this, really, but I can handle. No? The word cut clean. You've been handling it alone for too long. That ends today. He leaned forward. Tell me what happened. All of it. No editing. I looked at my hands. The fingerprints on my left wrist were fading to yellow-green. I pulled up my sleeve anyway. His expression didn't change, but the air thickened with suppressed fury. His scent spiked, sharp, protective, almost painful to breathe in. Start from the beginning, he said quietly. So I did. The first time he shoved me, 6 months in, after I said I didn't want to move in together yet. The first slap, 3 months later, when I canceled plans to work late. The nights he drank too much and decided my silence was defiance. The apologies that always felt real until the next time. How I'd learned to keep my voice low, my movements small, my scent locked down so tight it hurt. When I finished, silence stretched. Lucas stood, walked to the window, looked out at the gray Seattle morning. His back was rigid. "I'm going to ruin him," he said, almost conversationally. "Legally, financially, socially. He'll never touch you again." I shivered. "You can't just." "I can. And I will." Turned. "But first I need your permission to move forward." "My permission? You're the victim. This only goes as far as you want. I can stop at a restraining order and HR-mandated leave. Or," his eyes darkened, "I can make sure he never works in tech again. Never rents another apartment without red flags. Never feels safe walking into a bar. Your call." I stared at him. Part of me, the scared, conditioned part, wanted to say, "Stop, it's fine, I'll handle it." The other part, the one that had flinched at every raised voice for years, wanted to watch Ryan burn. I took a shaky breath. "Do it." Lucas nodded once. "Good." He pulled out his phone, made a call on speaker. "Read," he said when it connected. "It's Grant. I need the full package on Ryan Caldwell. Financials, communications, employment records, anything public or purchasable. Cross-reference with domestic violence registries, restraining order databases, workplace complaints. Then I want leverage points, debts, affairs, anything that sticks. Discreet. Fast." The pause. A male voice answered, calm and clipped. "Timeline. 48 hours for the prelim. Full dossier by end of week. Done. Send the target profile." Lucas hung up, met my eyes. It started. I felt sick and exhilarated at once. He crouched in front of me again, closer this time. His hand hovered near my cheek, asking permission. I didn't pull away. His fingertips brushed the bruise, feather-light. "You don't have to hide from me," he murmured. "Not ever." My throat closed. I leaned forward without thinking, forehead against his shoulder. He went still, then slowly wrapped an arm around me, careful, like I might break. His scent enveloped me completely. Solid. Home in a way I'd never known. I stayed there until my breathing evened out. When I finally pulled back, his eyes were molten silver. "I have to get back to the office," he said reluctantly. "But my driver's outside. He'll stay parked until I tell him otherwise. You need anything, food, clothes, someone to sit with you, just text." I nodded. He stood, hesitated. Then cupped the back of my neck gently, thumb brushing my jaw. "You're not alone anymore." He left before I could answer. I locked the door behind him, leaned against it, heart hammering. Ryan texted at 11:32 a.m. "Ryan, where the fuck are you? Boss said you called out sick. You better not be dodging me." I stared at the message. For the first time, anger burned hotter than fear. I didn't reply. Instead I texted Lucas. "Me, he just messaged. Angry." Lucas, screenshot it. "Save everything. He's digging his own grave." Then, a minute later, "Lucas, and Ethan? Lucas, you're safe. I promise." I believed him. For the first time in years, I actually believed someone. The rest of Tuesday passed in a strange, suspended quiet. Lucas's driver, a stoic guy named Marcus in a black Tahoe, stayed parked across the street all day. I saw him through the blinds every time I checked. No Ryan. No pounding on the door. Just silence that felt too good to trust. I tried to work from home, opened my laptop, stared at the tourism pitch deck until the letters blurred. My mind kept drifting back to Lucas's hand on my neck, the way his thumb had traced the edge of the bruise like he could erase it with touch alone. I'd never felt anything like that pull before. Not with Ryan. Not with anyone. It was instinctual, deep in my bones, the kind of thing omegas whisper about but never expect to experience. An alpha's claim settling over you like gravity. I pushed the thought away. Focus. Survive. Don't get attached to the man who might actually fix this mess. Around 4:30 p.m., my phone lit up. "Ryan, answer your fucking phone. I'm outside." My heart slammed into my ribs. I crept to the window. Sure enough, Ryan's silver Audi was double parked, hazard lights flashing. He stood on the sidewalk, phone to his ear, pacing. Even from 4 stories up I could see the anger in his shoulders. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. He started dialing again. I let it ring. Voicemail. He cursed loud enough that a passing dog walker glanced over. Then he looked straight up, at my window. Our eyes locked. He smiled. That cold, promising smile he wore right before things got bad. He started toward the building entrance. Panic flooded me. I backed away, hands shaking. Texted Lucas without thinking. Me, he's here. Outside. Coming up. The reply was instant. Lucas, stay inside. Do not open the door. I'm 10 minutes out. 10 minutes felt like forever. I heard the buzzer, sharp, insistent. Then banging. Not knocking. Fist against metal. Ethan, open the goddamn door. I know you're in there. My pulse roared in my ears. I slid down the wall beside the door, knees to chest, trying to make myself small. The banging got louder. You think you can just ghost me? After everything? I squeezed my eyes shut. Memories flashed. His hand around my throat last Christmas, the way he'd laughed when I gasped sorry. The time he'd pinned me to the kitchen counter and whispered I'd never leave him. Another buzz, different this time. My phone. Lucas, I'm here. Lobby. Security's stalling him. Stay put. Relief hit so hard I almost sobbed. Downstairs, voices rose. Ryan's sharp and furious. Another voice, calm, authoritative. Lucas. I cracked the door an inch, chain still on, just enough to hear. Get the hell out before I call the police, Lucas was saying. Ryan laughed, bitter. Who the fuck are you? Her new alpha sugar daddy? I'm the man who's ending your life as you know it, Lucas replied, voice ice. You've got 3 choices. Walk away now. Or I have security drag you out. Or I let the footage from the hallway cameras speak for itself when I file the restraining order tomorrow. Footage. Ryan's tone shifted, wary. Every bruise. Every time you've raised your voice in public. Every text you've sent threatening him. You're not as careful as you think. Silence. Then Ryan snarled, you don't know shit. I know enough. Lucas's voice dropped lower, lethal. Touch him again, look at him wrong, and I will bury you. Professionally. Legally. Personally. Your LinkedIn will be a ghost town. Your references will dry up. Your lease will mysteriously not renew. You'll be explaining domestic violence flags to every recruiter in the Pacific Northwest. Test me. I heard Ryan's breathing change, short, angry, cornered. You're bluffing. Try me. A long beat. Then footsteps retreating. The lobby door slammed. My knees gave out. I slid to the floor. Minutes later, a soft knock. Ethan. It's me. I unlatched the chain with numb fingers. Lucas stepped inside, closed the door, locked it. He was breathing harder than usual, coat still on, hair mussed from the wind. His scent rolled over me, fierce, protective, edged with adrenaline. He scanned the room, You okay? I nodded. Couldn't speak. He crossed the space in 2 strides, dropped to one knee in front of me. He's gone. Marcus followed him to his car. He left the block 5 minutes ago. I stared at him. Came. You actually came. Of course I did. He reached out slowly. I didn't flinch this time. His palm cupped my cheek, thumb brushing away the tear I hadn't realized had fallen. I told you, he murmured. You're safe. Something inside me cracked open. I leaned into his touch, eyes closing. His forehead rested against mine, gentle, grounding. Our breaths mingled. His scent wrapped tighter, soothing the jagged edges of my fear. I tilted my head just enough. Our lips brushed. Question. He answered by kissing me properly, slow, careful, like I was something precious he might break. No rush. No demand. Just warmth, steady pressure, the faint taste of coffee and rain. His hand slid to the back of my neck, fingers threading into my hair, holding me like I might vanish. I kissed him back. Hesitant at first, then deeper, pouring 3 years of silence into that single moment. He made a low sound in his throat, almost a growl, but it wasn't threatening. It was hunger tempered by restraint. When we parted, foreheads still touching, I whispered, "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet." His voice was rough. "This isn't over." He helped me stand, guided me to the couch. Sat beside me, close but not crowding. His arm draped along the backrest, not quite around my shoulders, but there if I wanted it. "I have the preliminary dossier," he said after a minute. "Reed sent it an hour ago. Ryan's been cheating for 8 months. Multiple women. Hotel receipts. Venmo payments labeled dinner. Workplace complaints from 2 female colleagues about inappropriate comments. Quietly settled. And a pattern of borrowing against his 401k to cover gambling debts." I blinked. Gambling. Sports bets. He's underwater. That's why the temper's worse lately, stress. I laughed once, hollow. "I thought it was me." "It was never you." Lucas turned to face me fully. "Tomorrow I meet with my attorney. We're filing for a protective order based on the physical evidence and texts. Simultaneously, I'm sending an anonymous tip to Pinnacle's HR with screenshots of his behavior, enough to trigger an investigation. His performance reviews are already shaky. This will tip them. And then we watch him unravel." His eyes held mine. "But you don't have to watch alone. Stay at my place tonight. Guest room. No pressure. Just safer walls. Better locks. Me downstairs if you need anything." I searched his face. No pity. No ownership. Just quiet certainty. "Okay," I said. He exhaled, like he'd been holding his breath. We packed a small bag in silence. Toothbrush, clothes, laptop. When I zipped it, he took it from me without asking. Downstairs, Marcus waited with the Tahoe. Lucas opened the back door for me, slid in beside me. As we pulled away from the curb, I glanced back at my building. Ryan's Audi was gone. For the first time in years, the knot in my chest loosened. Lucas's hand found mine on the seat between us. Fingers laced. Steady. I didn't pull away. Lucas's penthouse was nothing like I expected. I'd pictured cold marble, sharp edges, the kind of place that screamed money and distance. Instead, the elevator opened directly into warm wood floors, soft ambient lighting, and floor-to-ceiling windows that framed the glittering sprawl of Elliott Bay and the Space Needle in the distance. A low fire crackled in a gas fireplace. Bookshelves lined one wall, actual paper books, worn spines, not just decor. The air smelled faintly of cedar and coffee, layered with Lucas's scent that seemed permanently soaked into the space. He set my duffel by the door. Guest suites down the hall, second door on the right. Fresh towels, spare charger, whatever you need is in there. Kitchen's open if you're hungry later. I nodded, suddenly awkward. This is a lot. You're safe here. That's the only thing that matters. He shrugged out of his coat, hung it on a hook. Underneath, his shirt sleeves were still rolled from earlier, forearms corded, veins standing out from tension he hadn't fully released. I'll be in my office if you need me. Or the living room. Or wherever. Just say the word. He didn't hover. Didn't push. Just gave me space. I wandered into the guest room. King bed with crisp white sheets, blackout curtains, a bathroom bigger than my entire kitchen back home. I showered, hot water that didn't run out after 5 minutes, and changed into soft sweats I'd packed. When I came out, the apartment was quiet except for the faint crackle of the fire. Lucas sat on the sectional in the living room, laptop open, phone in hand. He looked up immediately when I stepped in. "Better?" he asked. "Yeah." I hesitated, then sat on the opposite end of the couch. Not too close. Not too far. He closed the laptop. Reed sent an update 20 minutes ago. Pinnacle's HR pulled Ryan into an emergency meeting this afternoon. They're reviewing the anonymous complaint packet, screenshots of texts, photos of your bruises time-stamped from security cams outside your building, witness statements from 2 neighbors who heard arguments. He's on paid administrative leave pending investigation. I exhaled slowly. He's going to know it's me. He'll suspect. He won't be able to prove. Lucas's voice was even. And even if he tries, every move he makes now is documented. He's being watched, digitally and physically. One wrong step, and the protective order gets filed with emergency escalation. I pulled my knees up. What if he comes here? He won't get past the lobby. Doorman's been briefed. Building security has his photo and plate number. And he met my eyes. I'm here. The words settled over me like a blanket. Heavy. Reassuring. We sat in silence for a while. The city lights flickered outside. Rain tapped the windows. Eventually I spoke. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. For you to want something. Lucas turned toward me, expression serious. I want you safe. I want you to stop flinching at doorbells. I want you to breathe without calculating risk. Anything else? He paused, jaw working. Anything else is your choice. Always. My chest tightened. You're making it really hard not to trust you. Good. A small, crooked smile. That's the plan. He reached over, slow, telegraphing the movement, and brushed a damp strand of hair off my forehead. The touch lingered. Careful. I leaned into it without meaning to. His thumb traced my cheekbone, down to the fading bruise. This should never have happened to you. I let it, I whispered. No, his voice was firm. You survived it. That's different. Something shifted inside me, sharp, aching, warm. The pull I'd felt earlier flared brighter. Instinct, biology, whatever you called it in our world. An omega responding to an alpha who'd proven he could protect. My scent changed, softened, sweetened, reaching for his without permission. Lucas's nostrils flared. His pupils dilated. He inhaled sharply, then forced his hand back to his lap. Sorry, I muttered, cheeks burning. Don't be. His voice was rougher now. Natural. But I'm not taking advantage. Not tonight. Not ever. He stood abruptly, crossed to the kitchen island, poured 2 glasses of water. Handed me one. Drink. You're dehydrated from stress. I took it. Our fingers brushed. Electricity. We talked for hours. Small things at first. Favorite movies? He liked old noir. I liked animated stuff that made me cry. Worst client stories. How he started Apex right out of grad school with nothing but a laptop and stubbornness. How I'd fallen into design because drawing was the only place I ever felt in control. Around midnight he glanced at his watch. You should sleep. Tomorrow's going to be heavy. I nodded, but didn't move. Can you stay out here? Just for a bit? Until I fall asleep? He studied me, then nodded. Yeah. I curled up on the couch, pillow under my head. He sat at the other end, feet up, one arm along the backrest. Not touching. Just there. His presence was a steady hum, cedar and storm and safety. My eyelids grew heavy. Just before I drifted off, I heard him murmur, almost to himself, I've got you, Ethan. I believed him. Morning came too fast. I woke to the smell of coffee and bacon. Lucas was in the kitchen, sleeves rolled again, flipping eggs like it was normal. Sunlight poured through the windows, turning everything gold. Morning, he said without turning. Sleep okay? Best in years. I sat up, hair a mess, feeling strangely formal. He plated food, set it on the island. Then we talked next steps. While I ate, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, expression hardening. Read, he said. Ryan just got served the temporary restraining order at his apartment. Process server caught him leaving for what he thought was a meeting with HR. He lost it, yelled at the guy, tried to grab the papers back. It's on body cam. Felony level violation if he keeps pushing. My fork paused. He's spiraling. He is. Lucas met my eyes. And he's going to keep spiraling. Pinnacle suspended him this morning. No pay. His landlord got an anonymous tip about lease violations, noise, property damage from past arguments. Eviction notice is in process. I set the fork down. This is real. It is. He rounded the island, stopped in front of me. Close enough I could feel his warmth. You still okay with this pace? I looked up at him. Those gray eyes steady. Waiting. I reached out, fingers curling into his shirt. I'm okay with you. His breath caught. Slowly, giving me every chance to pull back, he leaned down. Our lips met. Softer than last night. Deeper. His hand cupped my jaw, thumbs stroking the spot where the bruise used to be. I opened for him, tasting coffee and heat and promise. A low rumble vibrated in his chest, almost a purr. My hands slid to his shoulders, holding on as the kiss turned hungry, then gentle again. When we parted, he rested his forehead against mine. "No rush," he whispered. "We go at your speed." I nodded, heart pounding. But the pull was stronger now. Undeniable. And for the first time, I didn't want to fight it. The next 48 hours blurred into a storm of quiet destruction. Lucas's office became command central. He worked from home so I wouldn't be alone. Laptop open on the dining table, phone buzzing with updates from Reed, his attorney, and a private investigator who seemed to know every shadow Ryan cast. I sat across from him most of the time, pretending to revise designs on my tablet, but really just watching Lucas move through the pieces like chess. Every update chipped away at Ryan's world. Pinnacle fired him officially on Thursday morning. Gross misconduct and violation of company values. The email was forwarded to Lucas within minutes. Ryan's access revoked, badge deactivated, final paycheck docked for equipment he'd never returned. His landlord served the eviction notice that afternoon. The noise complaints, the broken cabinet door from last year's fight, the neighbor who finally spoke up about hearing me cry, all documented. Ryan had 48 hours to vacate. His credit cards started declining. Small debts Lucas's team quietly bought and called due. Collection notices flooded his inbox. His dating apps went quiet. Women he'd been seeing blocked him after anonymous tips with screenshots of his temper texted from burner numbers. He was unraveling fast. And he knew exactly who to blame. Friday evening, the sky over Seattle turned bruise purple with incoming rain. I was in the kitchen making tea, something normal, grounding, when Lucas's phone rang. He answered on speaker. "Reed. Target's on the move. Left his buddy's place in Capitol Hill 10 minutes ago. Heading north on I-5. GPS tracker on his car shows destination ping, your building." Lucas's eyes flicked to me. 20 minutes if he doesn't speed. He's erratic, swerving, accelerating hard. Looks drunk or high. Call building security. Have them lock down the garage and lobby. Alert Metro PD, violation of the protective order, possible DUI. Send them the live feed. Already done. Marcus is in the Tahoe downstairs. He'll intercept if Ryan gets past the gate. Lucas ended the call. Turned to me fully. "He's coming here," he said. "No sugarcoating. He's desperate. Desperate people do stupid things." My hands shook around the mug. "What do we do?" "You stay inside. Up here. Doors locked, alarm on. I'll handle the rest. I don't want you getting hurt." A faint, dangerous smile touched his mouth. "He won't touch me. And he sure as hell won't touch you." He crossed to me, took the mug from my hands, set it down. Cupped my face with both palms, gentle, but his eyes burned. "Trust me," he said. I nodded. He kissed me, quick, fierce, a promise pressed into my lips. Then he was gone, coat on, heading for the elevator. I locked the door behind him. Set the alarm. Stood at the window overlooking the street, heart in my throat. Rain started falling hard. 10 minutes later I saw the silver Audi, erratic, headlights cutting through the downpour, pull up to the curb. Ryan stumbled out, soaked instantly. He looked smaller somehow. Unhinged. Hair plastered to his forehead, eyes wild. He tried the lobby doors, but banged on the glass. Security appeared, 2 guards, hands on belts. Ryan shouted something I couldn't hear. Gestured wildly toward the upper floors. Then he saw the Tahoe. Marcus stepped out, 6'4", built like a linebacker, rain sliding off his jacket. He didn't speak. Just pointed at the car. "Get back in." Ryan lunged. Marcus caught his wrist mid-swing, twisted, forced him to his knees on the wet sidewalk. Ryan howled. Struggled. Marcus didn't flinch. Sirens wailed in the distance, closing fast. Lucas emerged from the building then. Code open, no umbrella. Rain darkened his shirt in seconds. He walked straight to them. I couldn't hear the words, But I saw Ryan's face change when he looked up and realized who was standing over him. Lucas crouched. Said something low. Ryan's shoulders slumped. Defeat hit him like a physical blow. Police cruisers arrived, lights flashing, no sirens now. 2 officers stepped out. Handcuffs clicked. Ryan was pulled to his feet, read his rights, shoved into the back of a squad car. Lucas spoke to the officers for a minute, nodded, watched the car pull away. Then he looked up, straight at the window, straight at me. Our eyes met through sheets of rain. He raised a hand. Just a small gesture. I'm coming back. I pressed my palm to the glass. When the elevator dinged 20 minutes later, I was waiting. Lucas stepped in, drenched, hair dripping, shirt clinging. He looked exhausted and triumphant at once. He's in custody, he said. Violation of the protective order, assault on a security officer, resisting arrest, DUI. They impounded the car. Bail hearing Monday. He won't make it. I crossed the room without thinking. Threw my arms around him. He caught me, wet fabric and all, held me tight against his chest. You're soaked, I mumbled into his shoulder. Worth it. I pulled back just enough to look at him. Raindrops clung to his lashes. His scent was sharper now, storm and cedar and victory and something deeper, something that called to every omega instinct I had. Thank you, I whispered. He shook his head. Don't. Then let me show you. I rose on my toes. Kissed him. This time there was no hesitation. No careful distance. I poured everything into it, years of fear, months of silence, the relief of finally being seen and shielded. His hand slid to my waist, pulling me flush against him. He kissed me back like he'd been starving for it, deep, slow, reverent. A low growl rumbled in his chest when I tugged at his wet shirt, fingers slipping under to feel warm skin. He lifted me without breaking the kiss, easy, like I weighed nothing. Carried me to the couch, sat with me straddling his lap. Water dripped from his hair onto my collarbone. I didn't care. His mouth moved to my jaw, my neck, soft kisses over the places that used to hurt. I tilted my head, giving him more. His teeth grazed my skin, not biting, just a gentle claim. My scent flared, sweet, needy, wanting. His answered, possessive, grounding my. We stayed like that for long minutes. Kissing until we were breathless. Hands roaming but never pushing too far. Just feeling. Learning. Healing. When we finally slowed, foreheads pressed together, he murmured against my lips, I want this. All of it. But only when you're ready. No timeline. No pressure. I cupped his face. I'm ready for you to be mine. His eyes darkened, silver to slate. Then I'm yours. He kissed me again, soft this time. Sealing it. Later, after he changed into dry clothes and we curled under a blanket on the couch, his phone buzzed once more. Read, final update. Ryan's lawyer called. Plea deal on the table, guilty to misdemeanor assault and violation. 6 months probation, mandatory anger management, no contact order permanent. He's agreeing. Wants it over. Lucas showed me the screen. I exhaled. Long, slow. Free. It's really ending, I said. Lucas pulled me closer. It ended the moment you let me in. I rested my head on his chest. Listened to his heartbeat, steady, strong. For the first time in years, I fell asleep without fear. 6 months later. The Seattle summer was unusually warm, the kind that made the city feel alive instead of gray. I stood on the rooftop terrace of Apex Media's new headquarters, glass railings, string lights already glowing against the early evening sky, Puget Sound stretching out like liquid silver below us. The company had just wrapped its biggest campaign launch in years, a full rebrand for the state's tourism board that had my name on half the key visuals. Tonight was the celebration party, but I'd slipped away early to breathe. I wasn't alone for long. Lucas found me leaning against the railing, sleeves rolled up, the faint scar from one of Ryan's worst nights now just a thin white line on my forearm. He stepped up behind me, close enough that his warmth pressed against my back without touching yet. Escaping already? His voice was low, amused, lips brushing the shell of my ear. Needed air. I tilted my head so he could see my smile. And maybe you. He wrapped his arms around my waist from behind, slow, familiar, the way he always did when we were alone. His chin rested on my shoulder. Cedar and storm wrapped around me, steady as ever. My scent answered automatically, soft, content, home. Proud of you tonight, he murmured. Everyone downstairs is talking about how the campaign visuals carried the whole pitch. Your work. Our work, I corrected. You gave me the green light to take risks. You earned it. His hands slid up to cover mine on the railing. Fingers laced. You've earned a lot more than that. We stayed like that for a minute, watching ferries cut across the water, lights reflecting like scattered stars. 6 months ago, Ryan had taken the plea deal. 6 months probation, 2 years no contact, mandatory counseling. Last I heard, from a single update Lucas's investigator sent, he'd moved back to Spokane, working entry-level retail, living in a studio his parents co-signed. No more tech jobs. No more flashy car. No more power. He'd faded into background noise, the way abusers do when the world finally stops protecting them. I didn't check anymore. Didn't need to. I'd stopped flinching at sudden noises 3 months ago. Stopped wearing long sleeves in July when the heat hit. Stopped hiding the way my scent bloomed brighter around Lucas. We'd taken it slow, deliberately. Dates that started with coffee and ended with hours of talking on his couch. Nights where I fell asleep in the guest room, then eventually in his bed, just holding each other until the nightmares stopped coming. The first time I initiated anything more than kissing, he'd pulled back just enough to ask, eyes searching mine, "You sure?" I'd answered by pulling him closer. We'd claimed each other quietly, privately, no dramatic bite, no public announcement. Just a night under these same stars, months earlier, when I'd tilted my neck and whispered, "I want your mark." He'd kissed the spot first, soft, reverent, then pressed his teeth there, gentle but sure. The bond had snapped into place like a key turning in a lock I hadn't known was waiting. Permanent. Ours. Now he turned me in his arms so we were face to face. "You're thinking too hard," he said, thumb brushing my lower lip. "Happy thoughts." I leaned into him. "About how different everything is." "Yeah." His gray eyes softened, the way they only did for me. "I used to hide everything. Bruises. Me." I traced the line of his jaw. "Now I don't have to hide anything. Not from you. Not from anyone." He caught my hand, pressed a kiss to the inside of my wrist, right over that faint scar. "Never again." A cheer rose from the party below. Someone must have popped champagne. Music drifted up, soft jazz remixed with something modern. Lucas glanced toward the stairs. "We should get back. Your team's probably looking for the star of the show." "In a minute." I tugged him closer by his tie, charcoal silk, still perfectly knotted even after a full day. "First I want this." I kissed him. Slow. The way we'd learned each other over months, no rush, just certainty. His hands framed my face, thumbs stroking my cheekbones. I felt the low rumble in his chest, the instinctive alpha response to an omega who chose him completely. My own scent flared, sweet, open one. He answered with a growl that vibrated against my lips. When we parted, he rested his forehead against mine. "Marry me," he said quietly. I blinked. "What?" He pulled back just enough to meet my eyes. No hesitation. No grand gesture. Just him, steady, sure, the man who'd torn down walls for me without ever asking me to be less than I was. "I've known since the night you let me hold you on that couch. I want forever with you, Ethan. Rings, vows, paperwork, whatever makes it official in this world. I want it all. If you do." My throat tightened. Happy tears pricked my eyes. I laughed once, shaky bright. "You're proposing on a rooftop during a company party?" Seemed poetic. He smiled, small, crooked, devastating. "You in?" I cupped his face. "I've been yours since you saw the bruise and didn't look away." He exhaled like he'd been holding the breath for months. Then he kissed me again, fiercer this time, like he was sealing something unbreakable. When he pulled back, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small black box. Simple platinum band. Inside, engraved, asterisk safe. I stared at it, then at him. Lucas. Say yes, he whispered. Yes. My voice cracked on the word. God, yes. He slid the ring onto my finger, perfect fit, cool metal warming instantly against my skin. Then he pulled me into his arms, burying his face in my neck, right over his mark. I felt the tremor in his shoulders, the big, unbreakable alpha finally letting himself feel how much this mattered. We stood there until the city lights blurred. Eventually he lifted his head. Ready to go tell the team they just lost their lead designer to wedding planning? I laughed. They'll survive. Hand in hand, we walked back toward the stairs. The party noise swelled as we descended. Laughter, clinking glasses, someone calling my name. My team spotted us first. Smiles widened when they saw our joined hands, the new ring catching the light. Someone wolf whistled. Another shouted, "About time." Lucas just pulled me closer, arm around my waist, proud and possessive in the best way. I looked up at him, my alpha, my boss, my fiancé, my safe place. He looked back at me like I was the only thing in the room worth seeing. And for the first time in my life, I didn't hide. I smiled. Free. Thank you everyone for watching. I also want to hear your thoughts about this story, and as you do so, don't forget to subscribe, like and share for more amazing BL stories.